The Indian Army, now controlling multiple key ridges on the south bank of the Pangong Lake in eastern Ladakh, has effective military control of the entire disputed area in that specific region. Now, we're going to explain this for you, bring you a lot of images which show the entire area and why exactly dominating the heights, which they are now doing, is a big deal. For starters, this map that you actually see shows all of the areas where there have been Chinese incursions. The area that we are specifically talking about is South Pangong, which has been highlighted. Now, the Indian Army is in full control of the South Pangong or bank of the Pangong Lake by occupying key ridges. The yellow area that you actually see is the area where the Indian Army occupies the heights. This after a nighttime attempt by Chinese forces to grab territory in the area. By occupying these ridges, the Indian Army is able to directly observe Chinese positions from a height, a huge advantage in mountain warfare. We'll explain how that works in a few moments. Now, this is the broad area where the Indian Army is now dominating the heights, and these are Chinese positions within the so-called disputed zone, an area which India believes is ours. And this is a close-up of Chinese structures along the banks of the Pangong Lake, not to be mistaken with the Pangong Lake. This is a bit south of that. All of these positions are actually within an area India believes is ours. India has responded to the Chinese attempt at building up tank forces and infantry a short distance away, albeit on their side of the line of actual control. But let's give you a certain perspective on this. The same areas which you saw just now of the Chinese positions when viewed from a height looks like this. And therefore you can see the enormous advantage if our soldiers who are entrenched on the heights actually have a top-down view of the Chinese positions. It becomes much easier to target and to observe. Now, the Chinese would like to deploy their tanks on this road that they have built in the disputed area, the Spangur area, which links to the Chinese posts that we've just seen. But given the position of Indian soldiers, these can be targeted with missiles. How? Well, again, this is another angle of some of those areas where we just showed you the Chinese road. Given the position of Indian soldiers on the heights, we dominate this road, and therefore tanks, armored personnel carriers and other vehicles that the Chinese try and bring into this disputed area can in fact be targeted. Therefore, holding the high ground is a huge advantage. Next, this is from that same area, and these are broadly positions which India now occupies. If you look to a particular direction, then you can actually see all of China in undisputed areas. You can see the line of actual control, and from this point of view you can look down at all of the Chinese positions, again to reinforce that point that the high ground allows clear observation. That's what the Indian Army has now tried. The Chinese embassy says India's move has grossly violated China's territorial sovereignty and that these military moves have damaged peace and tranquility along the China-India border areas. India insists that our actions are defensive, and an aggressive Chinese move is what we've responded to. That Chinese move was to push in forces into this region.